All right. Good morning, Rita. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. So I understand that you have recently relocated to Volusia County from the Central Florida area, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you're seeking employment. All right, so let's go ahead and just get started. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the work that you've been doing, let's say for the last 5 or 6 years or so?
For about 5 years. Okay. So 4 years I've been at Toho Water Authority running the warehouses and doing the procurement side there. I started out as a procurement analyst there, doing contracts and requisitions for the different departments for all of the water parts that they were needing. But then the warehouse staff that was there didn't want to do it anymore due to age and time in. He was done. So they switched me over to warehouse procurement side. So I've been running all the contracts for the warehouse parts that we have, um, all of the ordering, mins and maxes, just getting it all in order because that department was procurement and the warehouse was like the last thought when they built the company. So the person that was running it didn't know what mins and maxes were. So there was a lot of shortage issues. So the director came to me and asked me if I could run them. So we have 5 warehouses. I'm the main hub. So all parts come through me, all requisitions and orders, I build them. I get them off the trucks, all the water pipes. I'm on standby call. Was on standby calls too. So I'd come in at night and get all parts for them for pipe bursts and things like that. I do inventory counts. The director does spot checks and spot counts and things like that. So I've had to do that. Finance end of the side. I also ran the 253 credit cards that we had with the company and monitored them and all of their purchases, all of their receipts and transactions, and all the finance end of it for that too. I did the training for it as well. Um, but I did that for 4 years with Toho. And then I was with the other year, was with Marriott doing it on the food and beverage side. Same thing, mins and maxes for stints, for stouts, just watching shortages, resourcing different vendors if we couldn't get products. Same thing with Toho because we've had, if you're not in the water company, it's hard to know this, but like we've had warehouses and plants where our products came from explode. We've had parts break, and we have 2 vendors in Mexico and their parts and their machines broke. So we had to find outsource because they said they were out of product for a year, and we can't tell people they can't have water. So I've had to dig and resource and research and stuff to be able to get the stuff that we needed. But that's the main thing that I've been doing for the past 5 years.
Okay, wow. It sounds like you had a lot on your plate. So when you mentioned about finding new vendors, can you give me an example of maybe a negotiation strategy? Sometime that you had to negotiate maybe contracts and pricing.
So the most recent ones we've had to do were our engineers give us our list of acceptable products we can put in the ground for when it comes to water because of all the state and federal regulations for water and things like that. So I've had to negotiate a contract because there's only literally one vendor that sells us these brackets that hold the water meter in the ground. It's hard to explain. It's literally a piece of plastic, but only one person does it. Um, and it was third party. So I wasn't able to get it from the main vendor. And I ended up having to meet with him myself. I had to email him because we were having an issue with the third party vendor giving us our product in time. Our guys were waiting 6 months for things that they couldn't put into the ground. So I ended up meeting with him and discussing the issue, and we just switched right over to him, and he lowered my price on there because of all the issues when it came to our contract, and we set it up so it was a running order, so there was not going to ever be a lag in product or an issue with anything like that. So I was able to negotiate all of that with him, and we cut out the middleman for it.
Okay, great. Um, so I looked at my list of, I had a few other questions for you, and you have added actually answers to all of those questions in your first question. So thank you for doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this portion of the interview, but don't go anywhere because we have a few more things to talk about.
Okay.